biology as well as the different sciences. So what is the interrelationship between the sciences as well as the other branches of science with biology? At the same time, we also discuss about why we need to study biology. What is the purpose? What is the main aim? Or what is the main thing to learn biology? Okay, let's start the class. In order to learn something about biology, okay, one must have some fundamental knowledge of physics as well as chemistry too. Okay. The person should have, he or she, the person should have minimum general knowledge on physics as well as chemistry, because now the present world or the present biology is a multidisciplinary subject. It's a multidisciplinary subject which is involving in the participation with the fundamental knowledge of different branches of science. Okay. That means this main biology is interlinked with the different branches of science. Okay, the main sciences are the nothing but the physics as well as chemistry. So let's see how this physics as well as chemistry are interlinked with biology. Okay. First, we will go one by one how physics as well as how chemistry and how what is its functions and all. Okay. Now, the first one is cell membrane. Let's see what is the structure of the cell membrane, how it is made up of. It is made up of some proteins and lipids, right? Now, what is the subject which is related either physics or chemistry? We are going to learn about the structure of cell membrane. I said that this cell membrane is nothing but containing lipids as well as proteins. That means all the living organisms is having cell membrane, right? So that cell membrane is made up of some inorganic as well as organic compounds. We say inorganic as well as organic compounds. So now just go to your previous classes where you have learned about inorganic and organic compounds, subject called as chemistry. So in order to learn about cell membrane, you need to have the basic knowledge of chemistry. Okay. Next, go to the transportation of oxygen in the body. So in this, why the transportation of oxygen has to be happen? Because to form oxyhemoglobin, okay, form oxyhemoglobin, and this oxygen has to be distributed through the body. Okay, the hemoglobin is binding with the oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin during the transportation of the oxygen in the blood. Okay, now what is this pathway called? It is a metabolic pathway which include what is happening when oxygen is binding with the hemoglobin. A reaction is taking place to make up oxyhemoglobin. That means a combination of hemoglobin as well as oxygen. So it is a chemical change, right? So where you learn about chemical change, you need to read about chemistry again. Coming to the excretory system. Okay, so what you mean by excretory system? What is the main aim in the excretory system? Removal of the waste material. Okay, so at the same time, when the removal of the waste material is taking place from the body, okay, the absorption as well as elimination of the salts are also taking place through excretion. Example is sweat. Excess salt is released outside. Okay, so excretory system means which is involving in absorption of and elimination of salts we are discussing. Okay, so what is the important thing to learn, and what is happening in the absorption and elimination of the salts? Acid balance equilibrium is maintained, right? That means we can say we call it as homeostasis. Okay, So which is making the acid and base balancing in the body. That means the organism should maintain a pH. Okay, for its survival, the organism has to maintain some pH. So when you learn about acid-base equilibrium, what is the subject which you are going to learn about acids and bases? Chemistry. Next, absorption of food and water. Okay, so what is the main important function to absorb the water and food? Because the food contains some sugars and amino acids and fatty acids, and the same time water contains the salts. Okay, these sugars, these proteins, and these amino acids and salts are important for the proper metabolism for the body. Okay, so that's the reason absorption is taking place in our body. The digested food materials are absorbed into the body. Okay, so how they are absorbing? Through a process called as diffusion and osmosis. Okay, either outside or inside, they keep on moving here and there, so that it undergo the diffusion process and osmosis process, so thereby they are absorbed by the body. So where you learn about the diffusion and the osmosis? Again, coming to the chemistry. Transportation of water in plants. Here, this is the main one. In second year botany, you will be learning about the transportation in plants, a separate chapter. There, you will be learning about the conduction of water from roots to the leaves. That is against the gravity. That means the water is passing from the roots towards the leaves. Okay, the roots are absorbing the water and passing to the leaves. So we call it as a conduction process. Okay, why? Because this roots is having some capillary action which is absorbing the water, that is responsible for the survival of the plant, transportation of the minerals or food materials, whatever it make it or to absorb it. Okay, now this conduction of water means transportation. Where you're going to learn, you need the basic information about physics. Release of energy during respiration. So during respiration, how the energy is released? Through a electron transport chain. Electron transport chain, we call it as ETC. Okay. So through this electron transport chain, energy is formed. Okay, this is very important in the living cells. Through the respiration, energy is released, we say. So we are learning about some energy transfer or energy formations. So again, chemistry comes into the picture. Last one is effect of light on flowering. So how this light is acting on the flowering of the plant, how this is important on the flowering of the plant, because the light which is falling on the plant is absorbed by the flowers. It's absorbed by the flowers, because different lights are having different wavelengths. Okay, based upon that different wavelengths only the plant absorbs the light. Okay, now about the light waves and the wavelengths, where you will learn in the physics again. So like that, each and every function or which is something in the environment is interlinked with one or the other subjects of different sciences. Like take the example I did not mention here, but see, geography is there. Geography is nothing but which is required to study different distribution of the organisms. Like we say, climatology is there. Climatology also the same thing. The distribution of that organism based upon the climate. Like see, different organisms are distributed throughout the world, right? And you learn in that how these organisms are adapted to that climate in the various areas. Coming to the geology. Geology is nothing but we are going to learn about the paleobiology. Okay, some soil types you are going to learn. Okay, so all this paleobiology and the soil uh, types we cannot know unless you know about the geology, not zoology, it's geology. Okay, so there are some branches other than physics and chemistry where the biology is very important, as well as biology is interlinked with the other sciences. Okay, so next topic we will go with the utility of study of biology. Why we need to learn biology, what is the purpose we need to learn about biology. Okay, now when you see why we need to learn, the application of biology and the scope of biology is very vast one. Okay, so this biology gives a proper information, okay, about the different spheres of life, in every department of life, every part which is responsible for the survival of the life. Everywhere biology is playing a major role. Okay, so for that requirements if you have to fulfill, then biology is very important to be studied. Okay, let's see one by one how this biology is interlinked with one another. Okay, let's start with know about ourselves. So how this biology is playing a major reason to know about ourselves. Okay, like you see, like I'll give an example, like when you want to learn about the cell, we says that cell is the basic structure and function of an organism, right? So when you learn about cell, when you want to learn about the structure of the cell as well as the function of the cell and some organs in the body, like eye, heart, lungs, different sense organs are there. Okay, when you want to learn about that organs, when you want to learn about the digestive systems, like neural system, circulatory system, excretory system, digestive system, etc. So that organ systems, where all these are present in your body itself, in your body, inside your body, the internal organs. That means when you learn about that organ or organism or organ system, that means you are knowing about yourself. It also helps you to learn about your heritage. Some people say that you look like your father, you look like your mother, your height is similar to your father, your high your shortness or darkness is coming from your mother, etc etc, they will be saying, right? That is hereditary. The genetical characters that are transferred from your parent, right? So that means also you're learning about yourself. Okay, and when also biology plays a major role in telling about what happens when we sleep, or what type of food we eat. Okay, and if when we get a hurt. Okay, so what happens when we get a hurt. Okay, and you see, if someone asks what you have done yesterday, and if someone asks what are you doing now, like you remember something and say that, I have gone to a movie, I have gone to a restaurant. But it's some examples you'll be saying, right? So how could you remember yesterday you have done, but how could you remember today? So all these things are nothing but you're learning about yourself. You're knowing about yourself because of biology. You're remembering because of biology. There is something phenomenon where which is linked in the biology. Because of your neural system, you have able to learn, or you can able to remember everything. The next one is to meet our needs by utilizing the sources available. This is very important. There are different things which is supporting for the survival of an organism. Okay, like you see, take the example, you have to have minimum knowledge on some medicine. Suppose you see, you got fever. So what you do, you rush to the hospital. You rush to the hospital, obviously. Their OP charges, they charge 300. Later, a doctor will be giving a big prescription, and they say if you want to take a rest in the bed, etc., etc., right? They'll be charging some 5,000 or 4,000 like that. At last, what the doctor writes: Dolo 650 or paracetamol 500 mg daily 2 times, and one Ginkovic syrup or any multivitamin tablet. That's what he writes. That means unless you know some information about some tablets, or minimum information about some medicines, what you can have when you take it, then you can save that 4,000. The paracetamol sheet is almost at minimum 650 rupees or 60 rupees, that like. So instead of spending that 4,000, if you spend 50 rupees with some basic knowledge on the medicines, you can save that 4,000. Here, you're knowing about surgery. What is surgery? What happens in surgery? You're knowing, and you're getting information about crop rotation because of biology, and you're learning about animal husbandry, how to grow the poultry, how to grow sheep, how to grow goats, etc., and how to cure the diseases, and how to they improve the quality of the plants and animals. Okay, and because of biology we are coming to meet basic requirements like food, cloth, and shelter. So all this is happening because of biology. Biology is a vast area where you get a n number of important things which is supporting the life of the mankind as well as the plants. The next one is fundamentals of nutrition. This is very important, where nutrition, nothing but the diet which we are taking, is responsible for the survival of any organism. Okay, so this nutrition is responsible, and this nutrition is the fundamental concept for proper health as well as population control. Okay, the next one is our place in the universe. Okay, so what is the position of a man? Okay, what is the position of a man in a complete biosphere, and what is the responsibility of this man in this biosphere? How you are going to protect yourself, and how you are going to protect the earth? That we learn about biology. When you respect the resources which is available in the biosphere, then that resources will help you in the future. If you're greedy about that resources, what happen later? That may leads to any natural disorders. Right? So your place in the universe is nothing but you need to protect the environment, then environment will protect you. So again, environment you are going to learn in the biology. Next, interrelationships of organism with the environment. So that makes a interesting thing. That's what I said. When you are respecting the environment, then that environment will respect you. So you have to maintain a proper interrelationship between the organism and environment. Next one about health. Yeah, this sorry, it was health. Yes, small mistake here. Warning about the health hazards will overuse of the fertilizers that leads to the increasing the acidity of the soil. Okay, cutting of the forest, nothing but the deforestation which leads to floods. Okay, and over consuming the CFCs, carbon fluorocarbons, so that the ozone layer is getting depleted. Okay, and discharging of the pollutants into the water which leads to the air pollution and the water pollution. So all these are the mankind has health hazards which we people do it, and we people are only getting suffered. So how this you are going to learn? Because of biology. And the overcoming of the superstitions. Yeah, see, some superstitions are there, based upon some gender variations, based upon race variations, based upon color variations. So all these superstitions we need to overcome because of that we learn in the biology. What is the color? Is color is nothing but color of the body is just because of some genes present there. So because he is white or black, he is nothing supreme or he is nothing lower hand. Just because of some genes and because of the climatic conditions, the color of the person's varies. That's it. Enjoying the nature. So this resources is present n number in the earth that make you enjoy with the nature, as well as once you respect the nature, then you can enjoy the nature. Once you disrespect it, then totally collapse. So this is the main reason why you need to learn about the biology. So this is the main purpose, because you can know about yourself, you can know about the things or basic needs which we require for you. You can learn about what you can eat, you can learn about your place in the universe, you can learn about the interrelationship with the environment, and you can learn about the health hazards which we are making, and you have learn about to overcome the superstitious as well as the enjoy the nature. So this is why we need to learn biology. There are some things in the biology which are beyond the expectations. Okay, like we say, I'll give one example: DNA. We call DNA is a hereditary material. Okay, but coming to the virus, tobacco mosaic virus, RNA is the genetic material. So, like that, there are some common expectations which is beyond what we expect. Okay, like we'll go one by one. RNA is a single stranded, like DNA is the double stranded. But in reovirus group, RNA is a double stranded. Coming to the DNA, I said DNA is a double strand, but in some virus, DNA is single stranded. You know, roots of a plant, they are obviously towards the earth, right? But there are some plants which are negatively geotropic. That means the roots are towards the atmosphere. They are mangrove plants. And there is a plant called as cascata. It is a dicotyledon plant, but it don't have any cotyledons. Normally, roots don't have chlorophyll, but there is a plant called Tinospora, which is non-green. It is not green in color, but still it is having chlorophyll and perform photosynthesis. No, sorry. It is green in color, but it perform photosynthesis. Sorry, photosynthesis. Okay, and normally the venation of a monoclot plant is parallel, but there is a monocot plant called as smilax. Okay, so this smilax plant, though it is a monocot, it shows reticulate venation. And next one, generally what happens in a plant, the stem is above the ground. The stem is above the ground, but there are some plants called potato, corn, ginger. So for all this, they are having underground stem. The stem is modified in them to form the tubers in the underground, that we call as underground stem modification. And most of the plants during dark phase of photosynthesis, they follow Calvin cycle during the dark phase of the photosynthesis. But only sugar follows Hertzsprung cycle. Everyone will follow Calvin cycle, but sugar can follow Hertzsprung cycle. All the living cells in the body contains a nucleus. You know it. All the cells having a central nucleus. But RBC of mammals does not contain nucleus. They are denucleated. They are denucleated. And all the vertebrates contain the pigment called as hemoglobin. So that's the reason, because of the hemoglobin is the blood is red in color. But there is a vertebrate called shark. Shark is a big fish. Okay, so this shark, the blood is colorless. The blood is colorless. And coming to the chambers of the heart, you know when you learn in the first year of your zoology, you'll be learning about animal diversity 1 and 2, about invertebrates and the vertebrates. Okay, there in the second part, you'll be learning about reptiles. So in that, you'll be learning that all the reptiles is having three chambered heart. All the reptiles are having three chambered heart. But there is a reptile called crocodile. It is having four chambered heart. Having four chambered heart. Next, what is the function of the birds? They can fly. Well, the special character called as flying. But there are also some flightless birds called kiwi, ostrich. They cannot fly. They are called as flightless birds. And there's a universal rule called as fish don't have lungs. Fish don't have lungs. Okay, they respire through gills, right? But there is a fish called as Protocterus. This contains lungs as well as gills. Okay, and all the mammals give birth to the young ones through viviparous. As they are giving birth to the young ones, they are called as viviparous. But some primitive mammals like duck-billed platypus or spiny anteater, they still lay eggs, though they belong to the mammals class Mammalia, but still they lay eggs. So that these animals are called as oviparous. And all the terrestrial animals drink water for the survival. But there is an animal called kangaroo rat that never drinks water. Then how this water the kangaroo is meeting the water is through the metabolism. The water is getting as a byproduct. Okay, so that water the kangaroo rat consumes for its survival. Okay, so these are some expectations beyond what we think. We think always DNA is a double strand, so everywhere DNA is a double strand, but there is also single stranded DNA. We think mammals are viviparous, but there are also some mammals which lay eggs. So like that, there are some things beyond our expectations. So that's what we discussed till now, the beyond expectations. So that's what for today. Today we have learned about the relationship of the biology with other sciences, and we also discussed about the utility of the study of biology, and we also learned about biology, the science of expectations. Okay, so that's all for today. We will meet again. Thank you.